Hello everyone, thank you for joining our session. Today we're going to speak about Kazakhstan's path to the leadership in the uranium mining. Let me first briefly introduce our speakers. Mr. Dastan Kosherbayev, he's the Chief Strategy and International Development Officer. He's the one responsible for the strategic and sustainable development of the company. He's also overseeing investor relations and asset management functions. So essentially, Mr. Kosherbayev is the architect of Kazatomprom strategic direction. We also have our distinguished guests, Mr. Quinn. He's the Senior Vice President, Chief Legal Officer, and Corporate Secretary of Cameco, our partner in one of our JVs, Inkai. Sean is a seasoned executive with a remarkable 30 years experience, the one responsible for very complex transactions, including the one with JV Inkai. He has been instrumental in Cameco's global expansion, from major acquisitions to overseeing their significant stake in Kazakhstan, including the one Cameco has with Kazatomprom. Our third distinguished guest is Mr. C.Polak. He is the Senior Advisor for Strategy and Business Development at Orano Mining. He is a highly experienced geologist and mining engineer with Orano, specializing in strategy and business development, particularly in early-stage uranium projects. His expertise actually extends beyond Orano, as he's also served as chairman of the uranium group at the IAEA. The way we want to set up this session today, Dastan will start with a presentation on Kazakhstan and Kazatomprom. Mr. Polak also has several slides, so his presentation will follow, and then we'll move to the questions. Dastan, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Ms.Botagoz. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Really happy to see you, and your presence is much appreciated. I had a very long and thorough presentation, but not to bore you, I'll try to keep it brief. And I think someone hinted on it, so that's why several people left, but nevertheless, that's a good. Thank you for your interest once again. Could we go to the next slide, please? I know who's in charge of the presentation anyways. Yeah, next one as well. Next slide, please. If anyone wants to read this, I have the. Is this? Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, anyways, this presentation may and perhaps will contain some forward-looking statements, but it's a standard procedure that I have to keep. Next slide. Well, to begin with, just so you know, everyone, with the uranium sphere and what's going on. One perhaps should note that currently the second uranium renaissance is actively increasing, and we can see that demand is robust. There are signs of healthy improvement. For those of you who've been long enough to follow industry since 2011, perhaps you know how things went dramatic and south, but right now we're witnessing this revival, and it's a good sign for everyone involved. We're seeing that the nuclear sphere is receiving support not only from political entities but from financial institutions as well. There was this net zero nuclear initiative recently in September, where 14 key financial institutions submitted their pledge towards the support of nuclear sphere in general. China, which is the biggest driver of demand, is not even part of the initiative. So all in all, we're seeing the signs of healthy improvements, and by 2050, many said that they're going to triple their nuclear capacity, which of course serves as a good foundation for the development within the sphere. This slide highlights in general, Kazakhstan pursues a multi-vector policy, and we as the company will follow the same. We pursue no geopolitical ambition, and we're driven strictly by business or commercial interests. And as you can see, we've been in business with the major industry player. We very much acknowledge Cameco's participation in one of our JVs, and I'd like personally to highlight Mr. Gitzer's presence here. And Sean, thank you very much. I personally have a lot to learn from you, and I will help your expertise and experience. Thank you very much. As you can see, we've been doing this for so long. Kazatomprom's been around from 1997. We became #1 producer in 2011, I believe. We became #1 seller in 2018, and in terms of our record, I think it's impeccable, for we never failed to deliver on any of our obligations since we've been established. This serves as a sign that Kazakhstan is a central country to the industry. and I hope we get enough credit for that. Thank you. Well, if you believe in God or universe or evolution, whatever, but one has to be grateful for the geology that we've been blessed with, and one can see that we're still on the lowest quartile of cost production, and this enables us to be very cost efficient in terms of our mining methods. One can see that ISR is still the most environmentally friendly method that enables us to produce uranium without disrupting any oversurface activities or other things. And I think the acknowledgement we received from several ESG agencies just serves as a testament to that as well. Committed to the market discipline, here again, we have to thank our partners because this was a joint decision. This was the initiative we did back in 2017 in order to remove the surplus. We've been able to cut down production in all these years and removed 48,000 tons of uranium off the market, which in part served as one of the supporting factors to remove the surplus and for the industry to revitalize itself back in 2021. Global presence, as you can see, we try to sustain a healthy, diversified portfolio in terms of sales. There is currently enough space for everyone in the uranium market, but we as Kazatomprom do it deliberately in order to, as if not to place all eggs into one basket, and we're doing a great job in terms of our diversification of our sales portfolio. All this information is available on our website. The transportation routes are very important. For 2023, I believe 64% of our Western deliveries were carried out through Trans-Caspian International Transport Route. And both options are available. We can transport it either through Northern Route in St. Petersburg or the Trans-Caspian route. And this also gives us advantage in terms of our logistics. Well, yeah, this is one of the key points of today's presentation I want to address. Recently, Kazatomprom updated its long-term strategy. So as you can see, we have 5 major strategic goals. The first one would be the replenishment of the resource base, given the upcoming uranium deficit, which we view as structural, especially beginning of the next decade. There'll be a need for another Kazatomprom-sized entity in order to sustain. So, given that, I think that initiative is only rational and logical. Second one, and I have to make sure that if there are potential investors or anyone associated with that, to acknowledge that we're not going to spend all our money on conversion and enrichment, but we'd like to keep our opportunities and options available for us, especially given, once again, the need to triple the capacity in the upcoming years. These conversion and enrichment projects may come as lucrative, but of course we'd like to expand our footprint in these areas, but not at any cost, only in terms of we will be able to guarantee a robust demand for the upcoming periods. Of course, we're going to entertain an idea of entering these spheres. Rare earth metals, of course, as you may know, we have Urban metallurgical plant, which already has a very strong foundation. So we're thinking whether we'll be able to expand their activities in the upcoming years and to take like best utilization of a byproduct. For we have certain byproducts in terms of rare earth minerals at several of our JVs. With regards to the first one, the enhancement of our trading function, we have a trading facility in Switzerland, Kazakhstan trading house, and perhaps given the rising market opportunities, we'll utilize them as arbitrage some any potential deals. With ESG, I always refer to it, you can live without the ESG, but it's good to have them. It's like good manners, you know. Kazatomprom would like to proceed this path as well. So they say like the repetition is the mother of learning, or practice leads to perfection, whichever applies to you today. If you learn something new, it's good. And me, I've had another repetition. I'm really happy. Thank you for your attention.
Dastan, maybe we'll start with the questions to you. Could you please let us know, and the audience know, since you said the Kazatomprom have approved an updated strategy, are there any room for any potential international expansion?
Obviously, we would like to see if there are any potential opportunities to expand, but as I've already indicated, first and foremost, we need to secure a guaranteed demand or to see whether this option presents itself as lucrative enough. A lot of behind the scenes work is carried out currently, and should something arise, we're going to notify the general public in due course. But I think right now Kazatomprom is well positioned to pursue international projects given our prominence within the business itself, and it is no secret that we're being approached by numerous parties across the globe to come and explore any potential opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. Sean, maybe the next question will be to you. Speaking about the international assets, you have a very good asset in Kazakhstan, which is, I think, the experience of Cameco and doing business in Kazakhstan is quite essential. Could you share your views and thoughts from your perspective? What key factors have contributed to the success of this project, and how do you see it evolving as Kazakhstan further strengthens its leadership in the global uranium market?
I just want to check to make sure this is my phone. Okay, thanks for that, and thanks for the lovely introduction earlier. I'm going to go to the end of your question first. I don't want to be overly controversial. And we're fierce competitors in the market, good colleagues in mining and all the rest. But I do want to note that we also consider ourselves a little bit of a global leader in the uranium market too, and I think our colleague over here might have similar aspirations. So maybe if we could just talk about global leadership marketing in a collective sort of fashion for today, but not in any sort of way that's anti-competitive. But to go to your question itself, we've been in Kazakhstan for a long time. I think the original roots of our interest actually date back to 1992 when we had a reconnaissance team go over and take a look just after the country declared independence. That evolved. My first trip over was in 1995. I joined the company in 1994. We actually formed JV Inkai as an entity in 1998, and I believe JV Inkai started production in 2008. It's continued on since then. So the first things I'd point to is that we've taken a very long-term view. Geological diversity, geographical diversity is important to Cameco. We like to have production centers in different jurisdictions, and it's worked out very well for us. We've had a patient long-term focus, which has also served us very well. And we've had the ability to have that patient long-term focus because of the fact that we have significant operating assets in northern Saskatchewan that have allowed us to weather the occasional ups and downs that come. We've had a few production issues over the last couple of years. I think we'll work through them. And the fact that we can backstop them with our other sources of production allows us to do that. So I think it's that long-term view, geographical diversity, geological diversity, and having operating assets that reinforce each other that have allowed us to be successful over the long term.
Thank you. Mr. Polak, the next question would be to you. Orano is also one of the long and historical partners of Kazatomprom. Could you share your view, and would you highlight what are the key milestones of this partnership, and how has it evolved over time?
So thank you again for welcome us in this meeting. So, Kazakhstan is a very important country for uranium, and as one of the largest countries, largest company in the world for the uranium, is important to be here to share this discussion with you. So the milestone for us is we started in the 90s in Kazakhstan in 1996. We signed an agreement with the Kazatomprom. We set up the company Cameco, where Orano is 51 and Kazatomprom is 49. And then it's a long history of development explorations. We took about 10 years to work together with the Kazakh people to understand the country, up to 2006, where we're starting the productions. So that's mean these 10 years are very important for us because we build the relationship with the Kazakh people, with Kazatomprom, and we set up the company, and we enjoy now to have the Cameco the company, which is 1,200 people working in this company. So it's a good achievement. And then more recently, in 2022, we decided to go beyond the relationship of commercial relationship with the country, but doing also some science, some research development to work together. So we signed a memorandum of understanding with Kazatomprom during the visit of your President, His Excellency, in France. And in this MOU, after we achieved very quickly a program for about 20 science project based on the geology, the processings, the mining, and environments. So for us, it's evolution. So starting with the exploration to identifying the people in the country, identifying the problematic of the country, and to share with the Kazatomprom this company Cameco. So that was all the idea. Yeah.
Thank you. As you mentioned, France has a very well developed and one of the quite significant in terms of nuclear energy development. Your portfolio is very diverse. You have different assets across the globe. Could you share your experience and insights in relation to the plans for sustainable development of the uranium mining industry in Kazakhstan?
Yeah, definitely. So even if we continue to produce, we have to think about the future, in the future of the country, and the future of our deposit of our mines. So we developed 2 mines, Mukunduk and Turkuduk, and recently we opened the South Turkuduk mines. But we have to think about this mine in the future. So we worked closely with the people of Kazatomprom to develop software, high tech, to predict how could be the environment in the future. After the productions, after the end of the productions, we have to think. So that's for us is very important to leave the country or to leave the deposit with the clean process. So that means it's we have to share very closely with the populations, very good relationship also to restitute what we found before to arrive. That means the baseline is important, and the baseline is not only technically, but it's also with the populations. That's in the way of the community will appreciate that when we work it here, we had a good relationship, and when we left, we continue to have a good relationship.
Thank you very much. Sean, the next question would be addressed to you. As industry experts all agree that we are all well into the second nuclear renaissance, what role do you think Cameco and Kazatomprom play amid rising concerns on global energy security?
Sure, thank you for that. I'll maybe, I prefer the term rejuvenation rather than renaissance. I think renaissance got reworked a little bit too much the last time we actually had some growth in the late 2000s. Dastan's already, I think, outlined very nicely in his slides the primary benefit to Cameco, Orano, and Kazatomprom from the rejuvenation that we're seeing. We're expecting demand to increase significantly, structural shortfalls in production. So I agree with Dastan's comments about waiting for homes before investment decisions are made. I think you'll see continued geographical diversity. I mentioned that in my comments, and Dastan alluded it to in his, and you've talked about it a little bit already, Christian. So I think you will see continued growth for all 3 companies as the uranium industry reboots itself. I also would add, and this is a bit more from just a Cameco perspective, that we are looking to our investment in Westinghouse and other fuel cycle opportunities like GLE to give us even greater exposure to some of that untapped demand as we move forward. It's a good news story for all three of us.
Thank you. Well, following to Sean's comment, maybe we can also slightly move beyond the uranium. Dastan, could you comment, and you mentioned it in your presentation as well, that Kazatomprom is reviewing some options in developing rare earth metals. And within this forum, we've also heard that this direction is being very important. Could you comment on Kazatomprom's plans on developing this segment?
Sure, thank you. I think I was supposed to have a previous question. I'm kidding. It's a bit challenging. Well, anyways, as I've said, uranium is the primary source of revenue for Kazatomprom. 90% of revenue stream comes from natural uranium. But throughout time, we've witnessed that we have some byproduct at several mines. That would be uranium, scandium, gold, and given that we also give a great deal of attention towards scientific development and improvements, we're currently testing potential equipment that would enable us to separate these byproducts efficiently at several of our mines. And should that happen, of course, we're going to pursue some industrial-sized opportunities in order to maximize, like, what would be the right word? I don't have it at the top of my head, but basically would utilize it to our own benefits. And as I've said, we already have strong presence given the UMP, Ulba metallurgical plant, and it has a significant share globally with beryllium, tantal, and niobium. And we would like to expand their presence in the market as well, given the strengths that we already have. It's a no-brainer, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we've left some time for the questions from the audience, if any. So if anyone have a question to our distinguished speakers, please raise your hands. No questions, yeah? Vera, no questions? No questions? Okay, if there are no questions, we're going to be here. We're around. Anyone can always stop by to talk to us. I would like to thank our partners from Cameco and Orano for joining this session. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a great rest of the day.
Dear panelists, please remain on stage for a brief 1-minute panel photo before leaving. Thank you.
Just one last.
Dear panelists, please remain on stage for a brief 1-minute panel photo before leaving. Thank you. Please stand up.
Just 1 second. I wanted, given like a lot of things said on Twitter and in general, I wanted to say that us, Orano and Cameco, we may have our own differences, but we are like a family anyways, and within the family siblings, they may have their own differences, but that's only for the internal use. Whereas externally, we all come as a big family, and this should always be noted. Thank you.